Alright, today we're going to try something a little bit different. So we've been using our Raspberry Pis and our breadboards to interact with components. Today we're just going to use our Python editor. So Python's the language we've been using and writing in, if you didn't know. And we're going to use that to make a simple calculator. So we'll start off really simple, just by learning how to add some numbers. So we'll put a hashtag right up the top, and we're going to give it a title just for our program. So add numbers together. Okay, so we're going to start off with a couple of numbers. So we'll start off with number 1. So that's just a placeholder for our variable, and we can pop whatever number you want in there. Let's go 50. And we're going to grab a second number, number 2 equals, let's go 20. And now, pretty simple, this one's a really quick program. We're going to do the sum. So the sum is just number 1 plus number 2 together. So we're going to do our number 1 plus number 2. And what we're going to do is print our value out. So we've used that print function before to display messages. So we'll do print the sum of 0 and okay, so these little funny numbers that we've got in here. So we've got our sentence that's going to be printed out, and these numbers in here just refer to our num1, num2, and our sum. So our sentence is going to read the sum of 0, so that 0 refers to num1 here, and 1, which will refer to number 2, is 2, which will be our sum. So that one there is 0, number 2 is 1, and sum is 2. So if you go ahead and save your code, so I'll just save mine as addition. You can go ahead and run it. So mine might look a little bit different today, but yours should run just the same as normal. So if we go ahead and run that, it says the sum of 50 and 20 is 70. So if I changed my numbers up a little bit, so if we did, let's go simple, we'll go 3 and 2. Save that again. So the sum of 3 and 2 is 5. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. If we wanted to change things up a little bit, so instead of addition, if we went to, you could do minus, you could do divide. I'm going to try some multiplication in here. So I've got our two numbers again. The only thing I would suggest changing is this down here. So the sum of 3 and 2, so we're not doing sum anymore. If we do change our sentence up and go our num1 multiplied by number 2, and we'll change that to equals our sum. So we can leave sum in there for now. And if we run that, it says 3 multiplied by 2 equals 6. Nice and easy. So we could go ahead and do that for addition, divide, all of that kind of stuff. Now the next part on from that is choosing our numbers when our program is running. So this is good just for adding in numbers straight away. But if we wanted our user to choose our numbers, we need them to be able to input them. So instead of our numbers being 3 and 2, we're going to change that and we're going to put a little input section in. So we'll give the user a little prompt. Enter first number. And for number 2, we'll do exactly the same, but it will be enter second number. And down here in our sum, that'll all stay the same. So it's going to be number 1 multiplied by number 2. And our print is going to be pretty much the same. So if we save that now and run it, now when we run it, it's going to ask us to put in our first number. So let's go 4 and enter, and 4 multiplied by 2 equals 8. Easy. So onto our calculator now. So we're going to do a very similar thing, but there's going to be some little differences. So instead of predetermining what our user wants to do, so addition or multiplication, like we do with our numbers, we're going to give the user a choice. So we'll get our rules in first. So we're going to do addition, and this time we're going to use some different variables. We're going to use x and y. So really simple, we've got defining addition as x plus y, so that's going to be our answer for that. And we're going to do a similar thing for subtraction. And just take careful note of that indentation as well. So it is important. So this time it's going to be x minus y. Same again for multiplication. And last is going to be divide. Okay, so now we've got all our rules out. So we've got addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So now we're going to go down and get some prompts for our users. So we'll first give them a message. So we'll tell them to select the operation. So number 1 is going to be addition. Number 2 is going to be subtract. Number 3 will be multiply. And number 4 will be division. Okay, now we're going to sort out our inputs. So we're going to prompt our user with a choice of 1, 2, 3, or 4. So they correspond with our numbers up here. And similar to our previous program, so our sentence here, that can change. And we're going to do do some if statements now. So if our choice is 1, 2, 3, or 4, then we're going to sort out our numbers. So number 1 is to input our first number, and then number 2 is going to be input our second number. So if our choice, or the user's choice, is 1, then we're going to do our num1 plus num2 equals and it's going to be a similar thing after that. So for all of our different functions, so we're going to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So if it equals number 2, we're going to do subtract, and if it equals choice 3, we're going to do multiplication, and last one, almost finished. If it's choice 4, we're going to do division. Okay, so you can see part of our code is orange, some of it is purple, and some of it is green. So our green parts, really to the spot, are what's going to appear for our users. So they're not going to see all of the stuff behind the scenes. So our print function and our multiplication, all they're going to see is anything that's in green. So enter the first number, enter the second number, and they're going to see whichever number that is, and then the multiplication symbol and our equal symbol as well. Last part down here is if they don't enter 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's actually going to give them an invalid input. So you could change that message to something else. So make sure you choose 1, 2, 4 instead. Once that's all done, we go ahead and save our program. And if we go to run, So my program's just giving me a little error, so I accidentally put a 0 in there, so I'll get rid of that. Save it again, hopefully there's nothing else. There's one more, I'll just get rid of that. And our calculator is finished. So pops up for our user, add, subtract, multiply and divide. So let's go multiply. So you pop in 3, press enter. It'll ask for our first number, so let's do 11. And our second number is 10, so our answer should be 110. So have a go at making your calculator once you've got the basic addition, subtraction, multiplication and divide working. And if you are finished all of that, just make sure that you've caught up on everything. So next week when we are back in the classroom, we'll spend a bit of time catching everyone up to the same point, and then we'll continue with our Raspberry Pis and with Python.